Seems like 1,000 years ago. I fought my way out of that cave, became Iron Man.
Since the original Iron Man in 2008,
Realized I loved you.
20 plus films later in the MCU, all leading to this very
I
moment.
know I said no more surprises, but I was really hoping to pull off one last one.
And I'm very excited to share my spoiler-free Avengers EndGame review.
We will. Whatever it takes. Whatever it takes.
Whatever it takes.
Whatever it takes.
Before we jump into the video, the April giveaway is this authentic electronic Infinity Gauntlet. To enter is simple. 1. Like the video. 2. Subscribe and hit the bell notification. 3. Leave a comment below what your favorite moment is in Avengers EndGame. This video is brought to you by Squarespace. Whether you need a domain, website, or online store, make it with Squarespace. Avengers EndGame picks up where Infinity War left off and almost instantly blindsides you with the emotional toll of the far-reaching effects of the fateful snap, setting the tone for the rest of the film with several emotional gut punches within the first few minutes. It feels like not only the culmination of a 10-year journey, but a love letter to the characters, their backstories, previous settings visited in the films, and ultimately the franchise as a whole. While EndGame's plot mirrors that of Infinity War, which is, in the Russo's words, a heist film with the Infinity Stones at the center and Thanos as the ultimate victor, it turns out that Avengers EndGame is the hero's turn for a heist setting, and as promised, the cracks in Thanos' seemingly altruistic power grab become more and more apparent as he becomes more desperate to enact his final vision for a grateful galaxy post-snap, making the whole Thanos did nothing wrong argument harder to subscribe to, if at all. It's also because of this inverse look at the hero's journey that Thanos and the other villains truly seem to take a back seat in the film compared to their Infinity War counterparts. EndGame definitely makes a concerted effort to really zero in on the 6 original Avengers, and for the majority closes each of their arcs in a meaningful and profound way. Surprisingly, the characters who are deemed least powerful in the MCU are also compensated somewhat with some of the most weighty emotional scenes in the film. But it's not all doom and gloom. While there is unquestionably plenty of tear-jerking moments to go round, there's also a myriad of scenes which are not only varied but beautifully executed. Whether comedically, plot, or character-driven, the sometimes undulating pace makes this 3-hour and 1-minute romp a pleasure to sit through, as the tone shift remains mostly organic throughout, yet keeps you heavily invested. The sheer amount of Easter eggs, nods to the comics, and fan service is utterly remarkable and will take several viewings to fully appreciate, but definitely had a few resounding claps from fellow audience members that captivated even the most casual fan. Although I doubt this will be deemed as a quote-unquote spoiler, but Ant-Man may not have made it into Thanos' rear end, but he somehow found himself as the butt of a bulk of the jokes and wears his role really well.
Of course they make Ant-Man pathetic and the Wasp incredible. Hey, let me tell you something. They didn't do that. I made Ant-Man pathetic.
Robert Downey Jr., in his defining role, the progenitor of it all, merges his iconic wit with an emotional performance as you see glimpses of every iteration of Iron Man come out to play. From the charming tech-savvy billionaire to the anxiety-riddled Tony of Iron Man 3, overwhelmed with a looming threat he can never quite shake. Chris Hemsworth has utterly and totally owned Thor to the point where you feel like they have somehow melded together as one. Scarlett Johansson delivers the most heartfelt of performances and shows her growth from assassin eye candy to certified leader who is willing to do whatever it takes.
That's really gross.
Chris Evans' Captain America seems like a man finally present in time, trying to hold it together for the sake of humanity. He's embraced his role once again and also understands a cheeky meme or two when he sees it. Bruce Banner / the Hulk have finally hit their stride as a duo who will only get a few lines and comments by the directors in Infinity War. This is the most satisfying harmony of the characters. Less clueless and erratic than Ragnarok, less anxious and skittish than the original Avengers, but instead now has this sometimes dim-witted edge of the bro Hulk and the cheery smarts of Banner. He was absolutely a pleasure to see evolve. Or devolve, I'm not exactly sure. Sometimes it seems like the Hulk is interfering in Banner's smarts. It's a little bit dicey at times. Hawkeye. The Russos had stated that the absence of Hawkeye and Ant-Man in Infinity War was building to something, and they definitely delivered on both fronts, with the addition of Ronan being a more tragic and visceral character, which was cut almost too short. Although Hawkeye has a confirmed TV series set for Disney+, and upon reflection it's easy to spot all of the threads left in character stories that Disney will no doubt look to close or possibly expand upon later in their individual streaming shows. And so do too a lot of the ancillary characters get nods that will be closed later on. Thanks to the 3-hour runtime, most faces, not snapped, really do get a fair amount of screen time. A huge worry for the audience, myself included, was that the core Avengers would take a backseat to some of the newcomers. The Avengers themselves seem to be aware of this to a degree and even make a sly reference or two to it. The Russos masterfully showcased the different teams of heroes and, as they previously stressed, made sure to either depower or at least make a concerted effort to defang characters somewhat that potentially could steal the show and story from the main crew. Although the movie can feel a little bogged down by the CGI and pacing, especially in fights, and oddly a few clunky Iron Man movements and scenes, it's mainly forgivable, and the workaround the directors have adopted in big fight scenes is a laser focus on certain characters and/or objectives to alleviate the chaotic feeling of an overwhelming battle, which trumps even Infinity Wars in scale. The movie ultimately finishes tying up most of the loose ends. Some heroes are now gone, and in not many ways that you would expect, but also on a note that isn't quite a cliffhanger, is definitely 100% a love letter to the original Avengers, yet leaves enough wiggle room to spy the future of the remaining roster. Before I give the video a final review score, I want to give a big thank you for today's sponsor. Hey guys, thank you so much for sharing this journey with me. It's been so much hype and build up towards Endgame, and I've really enjoyed the process. I realized when I was writing a lot of these theories that I didn't want to just put them on YouTube, but also a website, and that's when I came across Squarespace, who incidentally contacted me later and said that they were happy to sponsor a video because I was already using them because of a couple of things. One, you can create a beautiful website with Squarespace's all-in-one platform. There's nothing to install, patch, or upgrade ever. What you're looking at on screen took me 30 minutes to knock together, which is absolutely insane. If you're looking to create your own website, you can actually head to squarespace.com for a free trial, test it out, see what you think, and then when you're ready to launch, go to squarespace.com/star and you can receive 10% of your first purchase. What can I say? A near flawless execution, attention to detail that is out of this world, comedic pacing without being overbearing, character arcs that are satisfying, and most importantly, you can tell this was made by fans for the fans. This also may be the first and last time I ever say this, but I actually agree with IGN's score and give it a 9.5 out of 10 stars. I hope that you get to see it, and hey, leave a comment below on what your favorite moment is in Avengers EndGame.